Now, the Ministry of Education's Vacation Revision Program, or VRP, began on Monday, July 10th, and is expected to be in 80 primary schools across Trinidad. And so joining us to talk more about it, we have Guidance Officer 2, Acting Guidance Counselor for Port of Spain and Environs, Karina Henry Carrington, and Senior Social Worker Sule Dyer joining us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being here with us. So first of all, I'm coming to you first, Ms. Henry Carrington. What is the Vacation Revision Program?
Okay, the Vacation Revision Program, I would call it is an opportunity to assist students across 80 primary schools in enhancing their academic performance, various skills, helping them to continue developing holistically, because this continues from what is usually done across during the academic year, but it has entered into the vacation period.
Yes.
So for students who may be performing a little under where they're supposed to be, then this is the opportunity for them to improve in their mathematics, in English language arts, writing. Because usually, Trinidadians, we write the way we speak.
Very in dialect, yes.
That's correct.
Yes,
so
yes.
this gives them the opportunity to enhance those skills and really better prepare themselves to move on to the next level.
Right. Now, I understand it was only for Form 1s or those entering Form 1, but it's been extended to the standard 4s and 5s. Why was that decision taken?
Okay, well, last year it would have been only for Form 1
Yes.
students. However, at the sitting of the 2022 SEA exam, a number of students performed below the 30th percentile. And because of that, schools where more than 50% of the students performed below the 30th percentile, those schools were, I would say, taken into that group of schools of focus. We're seeking to enhance student performance. And we've already seen the increase from this year's SEA results. So. It has been paying off. I mean, teachers have been working really hard, and guidance personnel, social workers, special education personnel, DAIU officers, everyone has been working together because this is our country.
Yes.
If we don't help us to improve, and our people are our greatest capital.
Yeah, and of course, children are the future and all that.
Certainly, certainly.
I'm coming to you, Mr. Dyer, because we have the Student Support Services Division also included in this program. What's the reason behind that?
Well, at Student Support Services Division, what we more or less do is, the name speaks for itself. So what we do is we support students through the process, the educational process that is. So we aid parents, giving them, skill sets in terms of how to treat with their children, stuff like that. So that is basically our role. Our role is basically to
Support the students, yeah. Where will they be during the program? So I understand that the program, it's among the 80 primary schools, yes? Will they be situated at the school? Is there another department or another building the students have to go if they need that support?
No, well, our officers are actually on the compound at the various centers.
Right.
So they would be there lending support. We are actually rolling out some special programs for the camp to help aid not only the students but also the parents.
Interesting. Why the parents as well?
We see the parents, just like my colleague just said, in terms of the investment. And parents also have a very important and very critical role in their child's education.
Yeah.
So we saw the need to provide them with a skill set that will help, I would say help kind of foster and lend whatever support that their child may need at that point in time.
Yeah, I asked you the reason for the parents as well, because I understand that one of the key things to help a student's academic abilities and to help them grow is a strong PTA. And I feel like the PTA Association is missing in so many of our schools. And so I was just wondering, how important it was for the parents to be involved and to strengthen that sort of parent-teachers association.
Well, I can't speak at liberty as it relates to the PTA, but I could definitely speak to how we see the role of parents.
Yeah.
So like for the school social work, our focus is really on the parents. We have like 4 topics that we're covering. So we're dealing with transition, helping parents understand what transition is for their child, and how do they support their child through transitioning. we are touching on topics like self-esteem and emotional intelligence. And in a world where emotional intelligence seems to be lacking, we want to also provide parents with the tools that would help them, bring some sort of self-regulation and help them understand how this affects their children, even when they're learning, their everyday life. And we also dealing with sorry.
That's okay, so I'm going to pause you, but I'm going to come to Mrs. Carrington. That's fine.
But I'm coming back to that topic.
No, and I will bring
I'm coming back to that topic because it is important.
Of course, but I'm coming back to Mrs. Carrington because I wanted to get into as well the duration of the program and what sort of schools is it going to be in? Is it all government schools, only government schools, and not the non-denominational ones?
Okay. So remember, it's based on the number of, if you had more than 50% of your students perform below the 30th percentile in the 2022 exam.
Yes.
So there would be government primary schools as well as denominational primary schools. So it's all primary schools, all students who need the assistance.
Yes.
It's targeting those students.
Yes. Only in Trinidad?
Well, as far as you know, yes, it's only in Trinidad.
Is there any reason why it wasn't extended to those in Tobago?
Well, I am not sure, and the answer may be above my pay grade.
Yeah, okay. Now, you mentioned the duration of it. What are the days and times? Okay,
so the program began last Monday, which is July 10th, and it runs until August 11th. So it's a 5-week program.
Right.
And so they are there from regular school hours, right? They may start a little later, probably 9, but you have to get there at least by 8:30.
Yes.
For classes or sessions to start at 9 a.m. And they get their breakfast meal, they get their lunch, and then they're working through the day with both teachers and student support staff and other. So they'll have dance, drama, that sort of thing. So it's not just only academic.
Right,
because we are holistic beings.
Yes.
So we can't just focus on school,
math,
school.
English,
No.
Yes.
We have to get the other aspects.
Do parents have to pay for this?
Oh, certainly not.
Okay.
Certainly not. It is free, but it means someone else is paying the cost. So that would be the Ministry of Education in continuing to provide the meals and also to provide some of the other resources that are needed.
Yeah. Is registration closed as yet? Because I saw a date as in last week, Friday being the last day.
So what I understood was that for primary schools, it was closed, but secondary schools, I heard it said that they are still accepting some at the secondary level.
Nice. How many students have registered thus far?
Right. So the information I got was more than 3,300 at the primary level would have registered.
Yeah. Nice. Mr. Diane, coming back to you.
Right. So that topic I was trying to get to is coping and resilience. I'm sorry.
No worries.
It's coping and resilience.
Yes.
So we understand that, as parents, sometimes we live in a society that is trauma-filled. And what we are trying to do is help parents, just like what I said before, in terms of some sort of self-regulation, learning to acknowledge that, their role is very critical as it relates to their child and their education and how they experience stuff, as well as, regulating that emotion and making sure that it doesn't spill over, in layman's terms, spill over into, how their child perform at school and how they see their schoolwork and stuff like that. So that is going to be our focus for the next 4 weeks.
Now, I know Mrs. Carrington said was it a 5-week program you mentioned? Yes. Right, it's a 5-week program, but I know that normally, because it's a July-August vacation, we want to give our children a break. And so why was the decision taken to have it so early during that July-August vacation as opposed to giving them some rest and then jumping back in before they go back to school?
Well, just like my colleague would have said in terms of seeing your education as an investment, seeing your children as an investment, we also want to give the students as well as their families an opportunity to not only focus on their academics during a time that is normally about pleasure and relaxation, but the camp is, in my opinion, ending at a time where at least they could get a little 2-3 weeks to still go to places like a little 5 Islands and relax and go a little shopping, go to the movies, stuff like that. So yes, you would have focused. Life is about balance. So you would want to focus on your remedial work and still have some time after that to really free up.
Yeah.
I mean, the camp is about turning up, but we turning up in a different way. Us as young people, when we think about the turn up or the turn up, it's a different kind of turn up.
Right, yeah.
But this time we're actually trying to focus on our academics and ensure that when September reach, we're in a different space.
I like that. So then I'm coming to you, Mrs. Henry, because I know that Mr. Dyer began speaking about that sort of benefit, but what other sort of benefits, except maybe an increase in percentage when they go back to school, what sort of other benefits do you see from the program for the children?
Okay, so just piggybacking on something Mr. Dyer spoke about, educators speak about the academic slide that takes place during the July-August vacation.
Yeah.
So students they learn concepts, and because they don't practice it when they get home for those 2 months, it's all forgotten and you have to start again come September. So by starting earlier, it gave them the opportunity to get that happening. But where guidance personnel will be working with students, similar to we're working in tandem with social work, so emotional intelligence, goal setting, transition, self-esteem, resilience, those are some of the topics that we will be handling. And so our students will gain skills that they'll be able to take with them through life, not just for the camp, but it will translate come September when they learn, when I'm in a conflict, how do I handle it? What strategies can I use? When they recognize that they are valuable, they are precious, because their self-esteem, their activities, creative stuff to do that will get them thinking better about themselves, being able to list positive qualities. And then, so when they enter school, even from now, they will start feeling better about themselves and being able to work and deal with conflict and be able to bounce back from adversity, because, I mean, life does it. Lots of challenges are happening. So once they can get that, then as children, if they learn those concepts, then when they become young adolescents, young adults, then they will be able to treat with those situations better. And I think we will have a better Trinidad and Tobago.
In terms of the teachers for the program, did we go to the teachers we see in the school, or were there volunteers, or how were the teachers chosen?
Well, as far as I understand, I believe it was chosen from teachers in the schools.
Okay.
So these same teachers who would have been working assiduously over the term in the daytime, then working assiduously after hours, these are the same teachers who are now spending
giving of their time.
5 weeks, both at primary and secondary.
Yes.
Right? So, we really do appreciate that, because this is their area of expertise. They're the ones who know how to move children from where they are to where they need to be. And that we are grateful for.
Now, you mentioned earlier that the primary school may be closed, but there's still some spots for the secondary school children. If anybody wants to get more information, where can they go to?
I would say they can go to the school. Go to the school.
Go to the school itself.
Go to the school itself. So online they would see there are 33 schools registered.
Yes.
So that they can go to the school and register. So I think, because I know primary is closed off, but I think secondary is still available.
Okay, great. Well, let me thank you, Mrs. Henry and Mr. Dyer, so much for coming in this morning. I know it's going to be a few more weeks again for the VRP program. Continue doing the amazing work that you're doing so that we can see the results, not just at the SCA level, but at the CSEC and CAPE level. So thank you so much for joining us this morning.
No problem.
And of course, that was Ms. Karina Carrington Henry. And we also had Mr. Sule Dyer, both from the Ministry of Education, just talking about the vacation revision program that's currently ongoing in 80 primary schools and some secondary schools across the country in Trinidad. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.